Right, so welcome to another episode of Ginger Ninja DIY Projects. Today we're going to be doing a bar. So I've gone ahead and I made this entire carcass so that we can show you how to juice up a bar using the same materials that you've got in your household. So what we've done is we're going to be using this parquet flooring because I'm all about recycling. You'll see in the previous episodes we always like to recycle products. And we lifted this floor in the bedroom because they wanted to tile in that particular room. And what was left behind was an absolute treasure. This is teak parquet flooring, and that's really super. And I'm going to use that on this counter and on this side to really juice up this bar. I'm going to go over a couple of products that we're going to be using today. One, we used our Inco cordless drill, 20 volt. It was a really super drill to put all our screws and to make this entire carcass of this counter. Really great product for that guy that wants something simple. It's easy, it's cordless, it's 20 volts. It's really a great product. It's forward and reverse. And basically we made the whole bar counter with that. You're going to be using our wood armor, Meranti varnisher to finish off the parquet flooring after we stick it on. You'll need turps to clean your brushes, and that turps comes from Handyman's, just a normal straightforward turpentine. We've got this Handyman's rainproof product. We're going to waterproof the entire counter before we stick on the parquet flooring, and that's really important because the counter, even though it's undercover, is outside and we need to waterproof it just in case a little bit of water gets into the masonite. Masonite doesn't really like water, neither does shutter ply. That's why we're going to go ahead and waterproof it. And we're going to be using this flexi tile from Alkaline to stick on our parquet flooring. And the first step is to waterproof the entire bar counter, and we're going to be using this rainproof from Handyman's. It's just your normal general purpose waterproofing that you would normally put on a roof, but I find that this is really great. So we're doing something a little unorthodox in the sense that normally the product's used for a roof, but it's really great on wood. And basically quite a simple process. We're using this professional brush here from Hamilton's, and we're just going to go ahead and brush the entire counter with this product, and that's going to waterproof it so that when we put the parquet flooring on top of it, we don't have any place where water could get in and possibly warp our wood. We don't want that, and that's why we're going ahead and we putting on this waterproofer so that we can waterproof this entire counter, and it's ready for the next step. So I'm going to go ahead and waterproof this now, and then I'll come back and show you the end result, and then we'll go to the next step. Right, so now that we've used this Handyman's waterproofing to prime our surface on our shutter ply and our masonite, you'll see that I've just done a very light coat on. And the reason for that is because the bar counter is semi-outside, it is undercover, but that humidity and that air can cause the wood to rot. And so what we've done is we went that extra measure to prime the surfaces so that they are waterproofing, they can resist any water getting into the counter. But it is an unorthodox method to use, but I find it works brilliant. Normally you use this product to waterproof your roof. You'll use that membrane and the brush, but we used it in a different application today to show you that it is a more multi-purpose product. It really goes fantastic on masonite. Masonite's normally very hard to cover. You normally have to use a melamine primer, but what's lovely about acrylic waterproofing is it does stick to masonite and it does stick to shutter ply. And normally you'll find that in the end of shutter ply you always have that ugly edge. And you'll see with just doing one coat of this waterproofing, we are able to really seal that line in. There's no sort of indentation, and that helps us when we're going to do our next application. Anyway, getting to our next application, we're going to be using this product from Alkaline. It's a flexi tiler, And if you don't know anything about Flexi Tiler, we normally use this particular product to stick tiles on top of wood. And the reason why we use Flexi Tile and not normal tile adhesive is normal tile adhesive you normally mix with water. That water will get into the wood and warp it. And this particular product is a ready mixed product. It's not made with water, so therefore it is a water-based product, though you clean your brushes with water. But it allows that, it seals in, it's kind of like an adhesive glue, and that allows the surface to stick to wood without making your wood warp. It's normally used for very lightweight applications, in other words, light tiles. We are going to be using a very heavy tile today on top of this counter, but the reason why we're doing that is because we've got no gravity. It's going to go on the top here, and that's fine because it's weight supported by the counter. But if you're doing a particular application where you do have gravity, it's against the wall, it's important to bear in mind that you cannot use too much of a heavy tile. So I'm going to go ahead now and open this particular product. If you look at this particular product, you see it's like a gunky, gluey product. Application is really easy. You can use a trowel. I prefer to smear it with a brush. I just find that a little bit easier than a trowel. And you're basically just going to wipe that on the counter. There. Make sure that you give a nice generous layer. Normally the application is 1 square per kilo, so it doesn't go very far, but it is just great in the way the adhesion hits the counter and allows you to stick those sort of difficult products that you normally can't stick. You see it's a nice gluey sort of textured layer. And we're just going to put that basically on the counter. And I'm going to go ahead and stick my tile. So now that I've applied this layer of Flexi Tile onto the counter, making sure that I kind of get it more or less evenly brushed out on the counter. The next simple step is to take a notch trowel like this, and we're just going to groove it like that. Now that we've grooved it. So like I said, I'm all about recycling, and we've used this particular tile from a shop where they basically discontinued the tile, and they discontinued this tile, and therefore, you know, they were going to throw it out because of the discontinued particular tile, and we're going to use that on our counter because that's actually perfect for in case you got like drinks and you spill it. It's a nice porcelain tile, so therefore it'll be nice and easy to clean. So that is one application. So here you'll see that we used a porcelain tile earlier, and we put that down with the Flexi tile. And now the next step that we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting down a parquet flooring, wood surface to a wood surface, and that's super with Flexi tile because the product is great on wood surfaces. Like I say, it doesn't cause any thing. So I'm going to go ahead now and just brush this on, and then I'm going to show you how to put the parquet flooring on. Right, so now that I've put down the porcelain tile with the Flexi tile, and like I say, I had already put my adhesive on here, we've used this parquet flooring that was on the bedroom floor. When we lifted the tiles, it was underneath. And that's, I mean, normally people would throw away this, and it's such great wood. It's teak, and you just don't get that kind of quality wood anymore. And we're all about recycling, like I say. So we're actually going to go ahead now and stick our parquet flooring here. And we're going to make a bit of a design here. We're going to go one way and another way. like they do parquet flooring. And we're going to go right ahead now and do the entire counter with this, and then we're going to show you the next step. So it's quite simple with the parquet flooring. You just basically stick it down onto that flexi tile, and you'll see that more or less keeping in line here. Obviously my tile will have a little bit bigger here, but we'll show you exactly how to hide that when we're finished. And it's about just sticking your blocks going one way and the other way if you want, or whatever's preferable to you. And we're going to go right ahead and do that, and then we're going to show you the before and after. Right, so we've gone ahead and we've stuck all that parquet flooring onto the counter here, on the top and on the sides here. And it was really great, this product, this flexi tile from Alkaline. It's a non-abrasive product. You'll clean your brushes or your scraper or whatever application you use with water. And what's super about it is that it adheres to wood fantastic. So we used the tile here that we stuck down on top of wood, as well as the parquet flooring. And what's super about that is it won't cause warping later. So many products, if you use normal tile adhesive, the water that's in the tile adhesive would have caused warping on the wood. Can't do that, and that's why you have Flexi Tiler from Alkaline. So it was a really super product, done the job, and I was really impressed with it. We also, in conjunction with that, we had a lot of little gaps between the parquet flooring here. And the reason for that is we're not as great as the carpenters were years ago. So what is lovely about that is you can super cheat with this product from Alkaline. It's a flexible wood sealant, and it's sandable. It's got a matte finish. And what's really super about it is we just used our chalking gun here, and we actually filled in all the indentation here, and we're going to go ahead and later sand it away. And I must admit, the flow on this product was really super. I really enjoyed using the product, and for that reason, and that reason only, I'd love to give this product my Ginger Ninja seal of approval. So that was really super. In conjunction with that too, we used a little bit of wood filler in certain parts where we couldn't use the wood sealant, and that's just a normal straightforward wood filler, also in Boya color. Alkaline has a wide range of different colors to suit the wood that you would need. What is lovely about this particular teak flooring is that it has different colors in it, and that's why in Boya worked. But you could get it in pine, you get it in white, you get it in black, you get it in so many different wood colors, and they have a fantastic range of different colors for that. So our next step is to sand. So now we're going to go ahead now and sand this entire counter, the top and the side. But before I do that, there was just one more product that I want to mention that we also use. On this cornice beading here, as well as this aluminium beading here, as well as this brass rod on the side here and this side, we use the product called Somafix. So Somafix is from Safe Top, and for no more nails that's on the market, this is a very affordable product. I was actually a little bit dubious of it when I first used it because of the price of the product. I didn't think it would perform as good as other well-known makes, but this product had a super flow to it. It stuck beautiful, and really another product in this episode that I like to give my Ginger Ninja seal of approval. So now we're going to go ahead and do our next step. And our next step is to sand the counters down now, because we want to prep it for the varnish. And I'm going to go ahead now and use my mouse sander. So I'm going to use my mouse sander over here, and I'm going to go and sand the tops, and then we'll show you the next step. Right, so now that we've finished sanding with our hand sander, our next step is to prep the wood for varnishing and to clean our counter. You'll see that we've got a lot of sawdust onto our tile here, and we're going to be using this product to clean it. It's a general purpose cleaner, and basically that is to clean any sort of surface here. We're going to go ahead now and clean our top. So it's in a squeegee bottle, which is super. Takes a bit of time to pump it, and we're just going to spray some of that on our surface. Like that, and we're going to go ahead and clean. And you'll see that this product cleans really good with cloth here. And we're just going to clean that tile nicely. And we're going to go ahead and clean now all our surfaces that are dirty, and then we're going to start the next step. I'm also going to use it to clean my corners here on the front and my tile, and then we're going to show you how to prep the wood for varnishing in the next step. Right, so now that we've cleaned these surfaces, the tile and the cornice in front, we've cleaned it. You'll see it nicely cleaned it up, took off all the dirt, and it's great for tile surfaces, plastic, zinc surfaces. Like I say, it's a general purpose cleaner. You can clean floors with it and so many other purposes. And that product was from Clean It, comes in nice little squeegee bottles, and we went ahead and we cleaned our surfaces. It's very important, our next step. I watch a lot of guys, they varnish quickly. So what they do is they sand down whatever item they are busy with, and then they go right ahead and they use varnish on top of it. And two things happen. One, the surface is very then absorbent with the varnish. And the other problem being is they'll end up getting that sawdust that's left behind from the sander. And that causes all these fine little sawdust trapped in the varnish, and it just doesn't look nice. So it's very important. We're going to be using our product here from Wood Armor, this wood varnish. But before we use that, we need to clean the surface. And we're going to be using this turpentine here from Handyman. So it's just a normal general purpose turpentine, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour some of that in this bucket, and then I'm going to brush down the whole surface, taking away that surplus sawdust and allowing us to prime for the varnish. So we're going to be using this Hamilton brush here. It's a professional brush from Hamilton's, and it's a 75mm brush. We want a big brush because we want to get that sort of done quickly. So I'm just going to pour it into a little container here that I've got, and it's really simple to prime the surface. Basically all you really do is you take your brush, you dip it in the turps, and then you just apply that turps to the surface. So we're going to go ahead now and prime our whole surface. I just want to come around here and show you how that turps hits it, taking off that surplus sawdust. So if I come around here, you'll see the turps just goes on nicely, takes away that sawdust, and the brush helps to wipe it off the surface. And that's very important to do. It's very important to prime your surface before you start varnishing. Don't worry too much about the turps. So many people think, oh shucks, if I use turps now on the surface, it's going to take ages for it to dry. The truth of the matter is, this turps will absorb into the wood in about 15 minutes and already give you time now to do your varnish right afterwards. So by the time you've done, like in particular, I've done this counter, I'll already be able to start varnishing. And that just goes on keeping your wood nice and clean, taking away all that surplus sawdust, and that's what we want. So we're going to go ahead and do the whole counter now with the turpentine, and then we're going to come back to you and show you the next step. Right, so now that we've taken that turps and we've cleaned all the surfaces down, you'll see that there's a slight change in the wood. It almost looks like it's varnished. It's very important, like I say, you don't want that specks of sawdust left on your surface, and it just helps to prime the varnish, which is really important. So we're going to our next step. Today we're going to be using this product. It's from Wood Armor. We've chosen the color Moranti here to paint on here. It's a varnish, which means you will clean your brushes with turps, the same product that you use to clean your counters down. It takes 4 hours to dry. It's a UV resistant varnish. It's durable for outside or inside, and it's just a great product to go ahead now and paint our counter, due to the fact that this particular counter is outside, this bar counter. And we're going to be using this Perfection Super Foam tray set from Hamilton's in conjunction with the professional brush. The rolling, you can use these rollers for varnish. They really are super, and gives you a nice smooth surface, or you can use a brush if you opt to battle to get into those corners and that type of thing. So we're going to go ahead and open our tray. What's super about Hamilton with this particular set is it's a value pack, which means they give you a 50mm foam roller and a 110mm foam roller. And that's really nice because the little roller is excellent for getting in those little corners, and the big roller is excellent for doing the big surfaces. So that's really super. So I'm going to go ahead now and open this tray. Another thing that's important with varnish, a lot of guys stir varnish just before they use it. Really bad idea. Because what happens is you stir the varnish and it creates a lot of bubbles. And then when you actually roll with a roller or you roll with a brush, those bubbles cause little pit marks, and just doesn't make your surface look nice. So it's very important to stir varnish. That is important, but don't stir it just before you're going to varnish. So if you do stir it, let it settle, let those bubbles pop for a half an hour before you actually apply it to the surface. But we've gone ahead and stirred this a half an hour before, and those bubbles have already popped. And I'm going to pour my Meranti varnish from Wood Army into my tray, and I'm going to come around the front to show you a little bit better. So I'm going to stick my foam roller now into the Meranti varnish, and because we've gone and primed it, you'll see how nice and simple it goes on the surface. So foam rollers do cause a bit of bubbles, but in this particular case those bubbles will pop. They're very, very fast in popping, so you don't have to concern yourself too much with that. And you'll see as this particular product goes onto the surface, look how beautiful it brings out the grain of the wood. This being a very nice quality wood, it's Rhodesian teak, and that is really super because you just don't find this quality wood anymore. And that's why we recycled it from the bedroom, because even though so many people feel it's unfashioned, look at the workmanship and the fact that this particular carpenter has cut every block the same size, and it's just super. Going on beautiful on this bar counter and really giving us a super finish. Finishing off all our hard work that we have put into this bar counter. So I'm going to go ahead now and complete the counter, and then we'll show you the next step. Right, so now that we've gone ahead and we've painted the whole counter with this wood armor Meranti varnish, you'll see how beautiful the grain of wood came out, especially on the teak wood, which is really super. But you always need to do a second coat. So we're going to wait 16 hours for this particular product to dry and then recoat. So that'll be in a bit of time. So while we're waiting for that to dry, the wood armor varnish, we're going to be using this paint from A-Shack paint. It's a cameo paint. We've used it in our other videos. It's a really remarkable paint. It's a water-based paint, really great for crafts and that type of thing. And what I want to do here is blend in this beading that we've put on the front of the counter. So normally when anything's polystyrene, it's important to use a water-based paint, otherwise it'll eat into the polystyrene, causing hassles. But in this case, it's actually plastic-coated polystyrene bead, but this paint can also go on plastic, and that's what's really super. So, like I say, we're going to be using that A-Shack Cameo decorative paint here, and I'm using a little brush here because I don't want to get onto my varnish that I've just painted. Use a tiny little craft brush here, and we're going to blend that in with a black. Let's go ahead and paint that. So what's super about this Cameo paint is it'll go on aluminium. So I've got this little aluminium edging here that we put on the front. And what's lovely also about edging, guys, is You always have an ugly finish in the front when you're finishing off wood, and it's our way of actually cheating. You take the edge and you put it on the front, and it finishes it off your product, making it look more professional. So all this edging, polystyrene, aluminium came from Build It Bedford View, as well as all the wood that was supplied to do the bar counter. And we're going to go ahead now and paint that edging, and then we're going to do a second coat of the varnish. I'm going to show you the before and after picture. Right, so now that we've done the second coat of wood armor on our counters and on the top here, it was a really fabulous varnish, really done the job from wood armor there. And we've done this black trimming, like I said, with the cameo paint from Ashak. And we went along and we just took a little bit of their copper, because they make it in copper, silver, and a whole bunch of different colors. And we just trimmed a little bit there, just so that you can see that indentation come out on the bar. And we're going to go ahead now and show you the before and after picture. And then the next episode, if you're excited about what happened with this bar, we're going to show you how to accessorize the bar. And that's going to be really a fantastic episode. So please look out for the next episode.